This podcast is brought to you by The Air Station, a regional sleep health provider dedicated to improving sleep through education and awareness. In collaboration with the Singapore Sleep Society, a nonprofit that champions sleep health awareness and research. Welcome to Night Mode On, the podcast where we explore the science of sleep and why it matters for your health and everyday life. I'm your host, Cheryl, and as the year winds down, many of us are thinking about how to rest, recover, and reset for the year ahead. We hear so many tips and tricks about sleep, but how much of what we believe is actually true? From you need exactly 8 hours of sleep to you can always catch up over the weekends, and even the debate about whether bedtime coffee is really keeping you up, we've all heard advice that sounds convincing, but might not actually hold up under science. So today, we are kicking off our new season by busting some of the biggest sleep myths with Dr. Stijn Massar.
Hi, everyone.
Dr. Massar is a neuroscientist and research assistant professor at the Center of Sleep and Cognition at the National University of Singapore. Dr. Massar studies how our brains function in everyday life, including how sleep is shaping our productivity and well-being. Dr. Massar, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So before we dive into busting some of the biggest sleep myths and misconceptions, let's start with the basics. Why do we as humans even sleep?
There's probably like a million and one reasons why we sleep, and as scientists, we're still trying to unravel like all the different reasons like why it is essential for us to sleep. But when we look at like the main reasons for sleep, like what we can see is that sleep has like particularly important function for our brains. So what happens when we sleep is that like all the experiences that we have during the day are reprocessed during our sleep, and our brain like replays the memories and reorganizes the memories, and by that like we can build a stronger memory and a stronger like memory system. Besides that, what the brain also does is replay emotional memories.
So, what I'm hearing is that the brain is really doing a lot of reprocessing of memories and really uh, reorganizing the information that we might have collected during the daytime. But what about in the body? Is there anything interesting that happens physiologically when we sleep?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we sleep, like our heart rate like lowers and our blood pressure lowers, and it helps our circulation very much. And with that, like it also like it cleans up our body and it helps to like strengthen our immune system. And all of this, like in the short run, like we don't notice it, and we don't notice like what happens like while we are asleep. But in the long run, it can help to lower like our cardiovascular risk or the risk for diabetes or other metabolic diseases. And all of this like eventually like adds up like over the years, like having good quality sleep for a long period of time will help us to stay healthy and help us to stay focused over time.
What happens when we're not getting enough sleep?
So there's a lot of things that happen. Like on the whole, like people can deal with like a little bit of sleep loss and can deal with a little bit of like challenge to the system. But when it goes on longer, like it will have like its health repercussions. On like what happens like immediately is that our brain starts functioning less clearly. So like we'll feel like feelings like brain fog, we feel feelings like fatigue, tiredness, and we usually feel like in a lesser mood, and we feel less motivated to take on new challenges. Like on the long run, like it's like what we know from the scientific studies is that on average, people who sleep less than 6 hours have an increased risk of developing um, cardiovascular disease, stroke, um, diabetes, but also conditions like Alzheimer's disease and mental health problems. So, on the long run, getting not enough sleep or not getting good quality sleep can have its health repercussions. Yes.
Dr. Massar, let's start with the first myth, which is the idea that you must get 8 hours of sleep every night, and that is what is considered the golden standard for a good night's rest. Is that true?
Um, 8 hours of sleep, no. Like it's gonna be very different for different people. And in 2015, the National Sleep Foundation in the US actually published like a recommendations paper where they had like a panel of like 18 sleep experts like from different disciplines to review the whole literature and like see like what is the evidence for um, given recommendations for like sleep duration. And what they came up with, or what they found is that like there is not like one single recommendation. So what they did is they defined a range of sleep duration that could be advisable. So what that range is for like most adults would be like 7 to 9 hours. And if you fall very far below that range, then you could start to ask questions like, do I feel I get enough sleep or do I feel I need more sleep? And if that's the case, then you might actually want to try to get more sleep. But if you don't get 8 hours of sleep or any number, any fixed number of sleep every night, there's nothing to worry about.
Interesting, because I'm sure we all have friends or colleagues who are bragging that they only slept 4 or 5 hours last night and they're still functioning very, very well.
Yeah, like poor sleep often like becomes a badge of honor and people would like to flaunt it to show like how committed they are to their jobs or like how hard they've worked. But like how well do you do your work when you do it and how well do you function? How well do you feel during the day? And if all of these things are not optimal, then you actually might be sabotaging yourself by not sleeping enough. And then like the next day, like your work is not as efficient as it could be, not as creative as it could be, and you find yourself like making more mistakes. So eventually you'll be doing more work and spending more time at work, which you cannot spend like on other things, such as sleep. So bragging about getting less sleep, it's often part of a culture, um, but it's not often a productive part of a culture.
On that note, I want to shift gears to our second myth, which is more about the external present day factors. So, there is another myth I've heard that if you are lacking sleep during the week, then you can just catch up on the weekends. Let's talk about that.
So when you sleep too short, like for several days, and finding the weekend you have some time to catch up, then well, the first thing I would say is like by all means do catch up. Like there's no reason not to catch up. You will feel better and you will probably be healthier like afterwards. So don't worry about catching up. But whatever happens during the catch up sleep, it will not completely offset like whatever you've missed during your work week and during your week of like sleep deprivation. So what we've found in our own research is that when people like have like 5 days of too short sleep, then over gradually over the course of that week, like people start to function less and less and less and less. And by the time the weekend comes around, people can catch up and they will get like a little bit better. But then when the next week hits, like they actually still start with a little bit of a disadvantage. So like when a new cycle of short sleep comes around, like we actually start to like function less, and even we start at a lesser from a lesser starting point than the day than from the beginning of the first week. So this is like one of the studies that we've done, and that very clearly shows that it's not sufficient to catch up on the weekends for whatever you miss during the work weeks. Whatever you build up, like it does accumulate, and like the more complete your sleep is during the week, the healthier you will be on the whole.
But what about naps, Dr. Massar? Let's say I have had a really busy week and I'm thinking, okay, I maybe if I just catch up on a few naps here and there, that can help restore my overall well-being, alertness, and things that I need to function. Does naps actually help in this situation?
Yeah, absolutely. Like especially when you haven't had enough sleep or you haven't had good quality sleep. Like if you are in the opportunity to have a nap during the day, then it can actually like really help to restore your cognitive function and restore like your mood and your motivation, like really like feeling refreshed. So very often, like when people like take like a short nap, and like this could be like 30 minutes, maybe up to an hour, what we see is that people actually like do perform much better like afterwards. What we do need to be careful about is like when we take the nap and for how long we take the nap. So if we take a nap like too close to our normal bedtime, like if we take the nap like in the late afternoon, then what that can do is actually like offset like our feeling of sleepiness, our readiness to go to sleep when we would go to sleep the next evening, or normally we would go to sleep in the next evening. And that can actually like perpetuate like a poor sleep cycle. So when it comes to naps, like midday is probably like a good time. That's when we usually feel tired. It can help, but it's um, I would say like it would not be a full replacement of a good night of sleep. And whenever you can, whenever you are in the opportunity to, like, trying to optimize your circumstances to have good evening sleep, and trying to like prioritize your time to actually like have enough time to sleep. That's would be one of the most helpful things you could do.
And actually, on that note, a lot of us have a routine or a habit of drinking coffee. And that leads us to the next myth that I want to talk about. So, Dr. Massar, I am someone who loves coffee. I drink 2 cups a day, but I have some friends who tell me that they're absolutely convinced that coffee doesn't affect them. And that even if they have a espresso after dinner, they're totally fine and can sleep at night. Is that actually true?
That's a really good question. So like personally, I myself, I'm also like a coffee fanatic. I'll probably have like three, maybe 4 cups a day. Um, and well, whether it influences your sleep or not, um, well, I think what I should say is that like for every piece of information that we'll be sharing today, there is a huge individual variation. So some people are more sensitive to the different aspects of sleep than others. Some people are more sensitive to stress, and some people are more sensitive to light. Some people are more sensitive to coffee. But when it comes to coffee, like one thing to know is that the way that like your body breaks down coffee, it doesn't like it doesn't like absorb the coffee and then just releases it like immediately. So it takes time to break down the coffee. And usually this is like about like 5 hours, maybe 6 hours before it reaches like half of its levels, um, half of the concentration of like the coffee that you've ingested. So what that means is that like if you are very sensitive to coffee or to caffeine, then if you take a cup of coffee closer to bedtime or even like later in the afternoon, then it is very possible that your body is still breaking down that caffeine like the moment you want to go to sleep. And at that point, you might not be able to fall asleep so well. Or even if you do fall asleep, like it might even like keep your system like active while you are asleep. So you might not be like as deeply asleep, or you might not have the as continuous sleep as you might like. So there is definitely people who feel the effects of coffee much less. And there's people like there's cultures in which like it's like very normal to like have like coffee after dinner. This is like the normal closure of the dinner after dessert. And in many of those cases, like it is also possible people build up tolerance to caffeine, so um, they might be less affected by a specific dose of caffeine if you regularly take the caffeine.
That's interesting. So, are you saying that there is a difference between your ability to have a coffee and still fall asleep versus your ability to have a coffee and have good quality sleep? Is there a difference there?
Potentially, yes. Yeah. So like it is very possible that you still fall asleep, but like whatever's in your system like still keeps you like waking up or like having like less good quality sleep. Now, of course, like a lot of that like really depends on like how you actually feel about your sleep. And if you feel you sleep perfectly well, then I wouldn't want to inject like any worry into your routine by yeah by worrying about coffee or by worrying about anything else. But if you do feel that you are not sleeping as well as you could or as long as you could, or you cannot fall asleep as well as you would want to, then trying to like change things in your routine, such as your coffee intake, like maybe the amount or maybe the timing of it, might actually bring you on a path of like improvement.
That's really interesting that even for folks who might think that they are able to fall asleep easily, even after having a coffee late at night, that there might still be some potential impact of the caffeine in their system. And actually, on that note, regarding the timing of certain habits or routines, I want to talk about the next myth, which is the idea that if you are exercising or going to the gym late at night, that's horrible for your sleep. Is that true?
The first thing to say is that like like probably the best thing that you can do for sleep is like have regular exercise. So like tiring your body out and like really like bringing your body into like a state of fatigue like actually does help you like get into a good a good sleep state, and like it helps you to get like good quality sleep. Now, whether the timing matters, like there was a very recent study on people wearing sleep trackers, like fitness trackers, and like which also measured sleep. And what was found is that like it was like millions of people like all over the world, and what they looked at is like what was the timing of people like doing exercise, and like how was their sleep like on the night after that. And what they found is that sleep in the hour before bedtime, exercise in the hour before bedtime, like specifically when it's like very intense exercise, can definitely disrupt your sleep. So what happens is that like when you exercise very intensely, your body, like your body temperature, your heart rate, and like well, like all the hormones that keeps you like active like will still linger on for a while, and it will take time for your body to reset and to like recover, and that actually like interferes with our ability to fall asleep or to like stay asleep. So in many cases when exercise is very intense, then it's not very advisable to like have that exercise straight before you want to go to bed.
This is really interesting because for me personally, I used to have a period of time where I was exercising, actually running, specifically running outdoors at night because I could only make time to go for a run after my working hours. And since then, I am now able to squeeze in a run around the later afternoon. And actually, I do notice that there is a difference in my ability to fall asleep that night. So
Right.
this really resonates with me.
Right. Yeah. So like indeed, like if you change up your routine a little bit, if you have the chance, of course, like if you have the opportunity to change up your routine a little bit, and you find like like improvements in your sleep, then you definitely can like leverage on those like little um little adjustments in your routine. And when it comes to running and like exercise outdoors, actually like that's actually like another thing that is like very interesting to mention, and that is that what exercising outdoors also does. It does, depending on what time of day, like it can help you to like get like daylight exposure. And what daylight exposure does very much is like it solidifies our biorhythm. So like what we call like the circadian rhythm. Like our body runs on like about like a 24-hour rhythm, where there are certain periods where we are where our body and our brain is active, and certain periods where our brain is quiet and we go to sleep. And when we can like have like a regular biorhythm, a regular circadian rhythm, then this actually helps us sleep very much. So what is often advised is to actually like go out outside and like have your morning exercise, have your outdoor exercise in the morning. So like when you wake up, like maybe 6, 7 o'clock, like do your run or have your walk outside, and like at the same time you get yourself like some good natural light exposure, and that helps you to reset your biological clock. And that will also like that will be another mechanism through which exercise or the timing of exercise can help you to improve your sleep.
Mm. That sounds like an ideal exercise schedule to be able to have a morning walk and enjoy the morning sunlight. But let's say we have a listener right now who really cannot make time in the morning or even daytime to exercise, and they really can only squeeze in a workout, let's say 10 p.m. In that scenario, what advice would you have for them to help them wind down after the workout?
Right. So what is important is to cool down properly. So what's what helps is like take time to cool down, like do your cooling down. um like other ways to like lower your body temperature, like what my personal routine is, um my squash routine. Like I play squash, which is super intense, in the late afternoon. And like after that, like I go to the pool. Like I cool down my body by not swimming but by soaking in the pool. And that actually like can help to like speeden up like the lowering of the body temperature, and like getting back into like a sleep routine.
That's interesting. So it sounds like for those who exercise at night, it's not just about the intensity or even the timing of the exercise, but also about the temperature of their body after their exercise.
That's right, yeah, yeah. And it does not offset everything, so you might still find a raised heart rate. You might still find like other bodily processes that are very active. So if you really cannot exercise like at any other time of day, then and you do find like that your exercise interferes with your sleep, then I could recommend like trying like less intense exercise, trying something that is like less vigorous. And well, like if you do want to do like highly intense exercise, then finding ways to cool down your body after the exercise might actually be helpful.
Interesting. I think this really helped me clarify my own assumptions about exercise and the timing. It's not really about the timing, but there's other factors to consider, including intensity and temperature. And that actually leads me to another myth, which I am curious about because I wonder if I'm also believing this myth. And the myth is that if you are dreaming, then that means you're not sleeping properly. What are your
Oh,
thoughts?
um, well, dreams are actually really important. Well, dreams are really normal to have. I'm saying dreams are very important, but to be very honest, like the science hasn't quite figured out what the function of dreams exactly is. So what I can say is that everybody dreams. Some people remember their dreams better than others, but everybody dreams. And dreams are often a very normal part of sleep that's in many cases get completely forgotten. Like once you wake up, you might have had a quite quite lively dream, but like when you wake up, you get out of bed, you have your shower, you might actually notice that all of the details that you were experiencing during the dream, you can't remember like most of them. So in many cases, dreams are forgotten, and why some people like remember their dreams, why other people's like forget their dreams, like that is not fully known. But like having dreams in and of itself is not a sign of poor sleep. It's a sign of very normal sleep. The moment when dreams are getting disturbing, when you wake up from your dreams and you um, like you've you've scary dreams, like you've got nightmares, and this like really like disturbs your sleep and disturbs your daytime function, then it might be an indication of like underlying issues that like might need to be addressed. But having dreams in and of itself is probably a very normal thing, and it's something that like I would not say anyone should be worried about.
Actually, the fact that you mentioned that you might be waking up from scary dreams and that might be a disturbance to your sleep routines, I think that's actually where my own assumptions stem from, because I have for a while assumed that if I can remember my terrifying nightmares, then that means my brain is on overdrive during my sleep. But it sounds like that's not necessarily true. When you're dreaming, it doesn't mean that you're actually active, but you're still actually sleeping and getting a well-rested sleep.
It's a very important part of sleep. So dreams happen mostly during REM sleep, and well, REM sleep is a very important part of sleep. And like a lot of what is happening during REM sleep, and well, the hypothesis is that this is like what dreams are doing is it helps you to process like emotional experiences and give it a place. And like if dreams are part of that process, then it is very important for us to actually have those dreams and to actually like experience those dreams. But yeah, like in cases where like dreams are getting like too disturbing and like we do wake up from them like too often, then we might actually be dealing with like a lot of stress that like keeps us up or like wakes us up during the night. And in that case, like dealing with the sources of stress can help you to also like wake up less, and can also can help you to like have dreams that are less disturbing.
And so, on that note, Dr. Massar, I'm really curious about you personally. Is there another sleep myth that you personally wish that we could address and just abolish once and for all?
Right. If it comes to like one thing that I would like to abolish, and well, this is more of a misconception than a myth. I would say like what I often hear is that people are very um resigned in the fact that they have poor sleep, and like they see sleep as like just a fact of life that they'll have to accept, and like that will not get better anytime soon or anytime, like whether it's like due to like their responsibilities, their work, their family, or whether it's like due to sleep problems, like disorders that they might have and are unrecognized. um I think it would be very um it would be very helpful for people to know that that sleep can improve. And I think it would be very useful for like everyone to like come together and like also um, give sleep the importance that it deserves. I think when it comes to like being healthy and having health, like improving our health, like sleep is probably like one of the best ways to like um, to help like maintain and build our bodies, help maintain and build our mental well-being. So see it as not laziness, or not see it as unproductive time, but see it as an investment in like the long-term health of our people and the creativity and productivity of our workforce, and also like as a fertile soil for our kids to grow up in and grow to be mentally stable and happy, but also resilient children and adults later on.
This is such a good reminder for so many folks who might be convinced right now that, oh, sleep is for the weak. I can sleep after I finish my work. But what I'm really hearing from you is that sleep is not something that you wait till after you finish the work, but it's actually essential for you to do good work in the first place. So, Dr. Massar, if someone is listening right now and they're thinking, okay, I want to improve my sleep quality. I want to be able to sleep faster when I get in bed. What's one thing they can do tonight to start seeing a small shift the next day?
I would probably say like the best thing that they can do is to realize that like good sleep does not start in the evening. Good sleep starts in the day, in the morning. So when you get up, um, you can um, you can you can get out and like expose yourself to some sunlight, like get enough light exposure during the day, and get up at a regular time. So that will help you to really settle that body clock that you drive on. And during the day, like make sure that you do things like exercise, like work hard, and like be productive, and with that like also like tire yourself out. Like all of these things like will help you to get into a good sleep mode. And by the time that like the evening comes around, of course we have to build in like a little bit of like a wind down routine, and we wouldn't want to go straight from evening meeting into bed, or we wouldn't want to go straight into bed like after like some stressful work. So if there's like some way to buffer that and like build some time to like actually like wind down, then that might help. That might help a lot. um but if your starts improving your sleep at night, then you've already missed like the chance to do it in the daytime. And whatever you can do in the daytime actually helps a lot to be in the right mood, in the right state when you want to go to bed.
Wow, that is actually such a great tip because it's really making me think of, can I audit my time, my schedule throughout the day and really be able to identify where might I be unknowingly adding to poor sleep, or where can I make a slight tweak in order to improve my sleep tonight? Dr. Massar, this has been such a fruitful conversation. Thank you so much for being a guest on our show today.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you to you all for tuning in to Night Mode On. As the year winds down, I want us to remember that better nights starts with understanding your sleep. And this conversation with Dr. Stijn Massar has really reminded me how personal this experience of sleep really is. There's so many factors that really shape our sleep at the end of the day. We'll be back next month with another episode that parents do not want to miss: pediatric and adolescent sleep health. We will explore how sleep shapes our kids' learning, growth, and mood, and what families can do in the new year ahead. Until next time, stay well, sleep deep, and keep your night mode on.